Welcome to Guarding the Heart. It's been a little while. We haven't done an episode in quite a few weeks. Things have been really busy, both here at the church and for me personally. Went away for a little bit. I actually went to Kenya, and that was really neat. Got to go with Claire, my wife, and some other members from the church, and we were part of a missions conference there, and also got to visit a village that we support through our partnership with Life in Abundance. So that was a great trip. But yeah, things get crazy. The summer ends, obviously, always does, and fall starts. Programming kicks back up, the kids go back to school, and before you know it, you're just so busy you don't have a whole lot of time for podcasting. But glad to be with you today, and I'm appreciative of you tuning in, whether you're watching this on YouTube or tuning in through the podcast. Thank you for being here with me. This trip to Africa was very good. I'm going to talk about it some today. Not a whole lot as in, I'm just going to spend an episode talking about a mission trip. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to talk about is some of the things that I brought back with me that have been sort of stirring in my heart, and just things that I've noticed. Because our topic today is how to keep a mission mindset at home. Obviously, the theme for this show is guarding the heart. Guard your heart, because everything you do flows from it, right? Well, how do you have a mission-minded heart? How do you have a heart that beats for missions? That's what we're going to talk about today. Long before I came to Pierce Chapel, I was aware that Pierce Chapel had sort of a reputation for being a mission-minded church, and I've always liked that. I don't think that you can really say that's because of any one person or any one movement or idea. I don't think that you can intentionally inject that into the DNA of a church or a culture. It has to be a God thing. And when God starts to move and opens up opportunities and starts to call people and people respond, it just kind of grows from there if the people, the leadership, whoever is committed to growing in that direction. And so I'm very grateful for all the work that was done long before I got here by missions committees and previous pastors and the congregation. It's sort of created a culture of wanting to be involved, which is a great thing. Really, I think that any church that truly wants to be the church should be mission-minded. I mean, we are the hands and feet of Christ. If missions are not important to us, then what are we doing? We're just gathering for the sake of, fun, fellowship. I don't know. So anyway, what I want to do today is talk about how you can have a mission mindset, even when you're not necessarily going anywhere. You're not going to Africa. You're not going to Honduras. You're not deploying with a disaster relief team. Now, we do all of these things, but some of us don't. You, the viewer, maybe you've never done anything like that. Members of the congregation, many of them have never done anything like that. But you can still have the mission mindset, meaning you can still be determined to participate in what God is doing and how the gospel is being presented through word and deed to other people. So today I'm going to give you 7 thoughts that I have on how to have a mission mindset even when you're at home. And we'll just jump right into it. The very first one is get out of your comfort zone. You cannot be involved in anything God is calling you to be involved in if your primary concern is staying comfortable. I mean, what keeps most people from going to church? Wanting to stay in bed, maybe? Wanting to enjoy their Sunday morning, take it easy, it's been a long week, wanting to travel. Rest and travel and all of these things are great. But what I'm saying is, when we lean too much and too often into what pleases us and makes us comfortable, something gets compromised, and is usually something spiritually. Jesus never called anybody to get comfortable. Never anywhere in the Bible does it say, come follow me, because it's easy, it's comfortable. You're going to have a lot more stuff to enjoy. There will be a lot of luxuries surrounding you. He never says, do whatever you can to make yourself feel secure in this world. He never says any of that. In fact, what he says is the Son of Man does not even have a place to lay his head. Birds might have nests and foxes might have holes, but I don't, and I'm the one you're following. So he's saying there's a real cost to discipleship. If you're going to follow Jesus, you have to know that you are going to have to leave your comfort zone. You can't bear the gospel to someone else, whether we're talking about sharing it with words or demonstrating it through your actions. You can't do either one if you're navel gazing. If you're looking inward all the time and you're just thinking about what's going to make me happy, what's comfortable for me. And with this trip to Africa, we almost didn't go because the U.S. Embassy sent out a message just a couple days before we left saying, hey, this is dangerous travel. Travel very safely and stay alert because there are some incidents that you might need to be aware of. And that threw a lot of us for a loop. And we almost didn't go. And I was talking to Rosanna Harbuck, our program and communications director here at the church, and she went with us. And she was on the fence about going. But one of the things that she said was, I'm looking around, at my house today and just thinking about how cozy everything is. And it's almost like God is telling me, you're too comfortable. You got to get out of this comfort zone if you're really going to do what I'm calling you to do. So, to have a mission mindset, you have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. The second thing is you have to be fearless and bold in your witness. Now, this kind of ties into the other because sometimes we retreat into our comfort zones because we're afraid. We lack the confidence to step out. And sometimes we're just afraid of what the U.S. Embassy has told us, So even in your day-to-day life, whatever it is that you're nervous about that's making you insecure about sharing the gospel with others, or is making you hesitant to give others or just to serve others, whatever that is, just know that that is keeping you from being bold in the way Christ wants you to be bold. You have God on your side. You have Christ calling you and leading you. So we have to be fearless and we have to be bold. And it's very easy to let the things we're concerned about get in the way of that. Like I said, we almost didn't go on the trip because we were afraid of our safety. And then I met this guy while I was there. This was kind of a light bulb moment for me, I guess you could say. But his name was Wesley, and he was from India. Now, Wesley's not his real name. It's the name he's sort of taken as his missionary name because he does like John Wesley. But he is a missionary in India where only 3% of the population is Christian. And he faces intense persecution as he goes into these remote tribes and shares the gospel with people who really don't want to hear it. He told me stories about people that had died for their faith, people that he knows, people that he had witnessed to. He was telling me about this one lady who received Christ, and when she went back to her village, the people in her tribe stabbed her to death with the sticks that they brushed their teeth with. So these are real dangers that come with sharing your faith in a place like India. Well, we don't have anything like that to be afraid of here. But yet we act like we're so timid. We're so afraid of what might happen if we do speak out and share our faith. Why is that? And then he went on to tell me a little bit about, the other dangers, like the snakes that he encounters and the roads on the side of the mountain where the vehicles can just slide right off. And he was telling me all of this, and I was saying, be careful, man. Be careful, Wesley. And he just got this sparkle in his eye, and he said, Jesus died for me. I can't wait to die for him. And I almost felt the blood leave my face when he said that, just simply because it was this moment of profound conviction. Like, how have I let fear or insecurities or whatever it may be keep me from being bold? If you want to have a mission mindset, even here at home, you have to be able to say, I'm going to step out no matter what, and I'm not going to be afraid to do so. The third thing is understand that even when you do step out, you are going to get attacked. And so that brings me to a point where I guess we need to talk a little bit about the devil. We don't like to talk about the devil, do we? I mean, we have this stigma almost that says, that sounds superstitious. That part makes us sound a little crazy. When we start talking about the devil and demons and we're getting it spiritually attacked. But let's think about this. We believe in a God who is the source of everything good, a creator, the God who is love and justice and mercy and grace and kindness and all the wonderful things about life that we love. God is the creator of it and the source of it. So the only way to explain everything else, the anger, the hatred, the malice, death, all of that says that there's something opposing God, right? There has to be an evil force that contends with the source of all that is good. And, people, I've noticed these days, they will proclaim Jesus and call themselves a Christian, and they tend to shy away from any acknowledgement that there is a devil at work, that there are demonic forces at work. But the Bible tells us that that's the case. The Bible tells us the devil prowls around like a lion looking to devour you. So if you claim to believe in Jesus, if you claim to be a Christian, that means you have to claim the testimony of Scripture, which also says there is an adversary. And that adversary does not want you to have a mission mindset. Not abroad and not at home. Paul tells the Ephesians, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers of this darkness, against evil spiritual forces in the heavens, meaning that spiritual realm, The darkness, the evil forces we cannot see, they are coming against us, trying to persecute us. But Jesus says, when you're persecuted for my sake, rejoice. The prophets were persecuted. Jesus was persecuted, all the way to the point of death. And the church was born because of not just what he did, but by his Holy Spirit being poured out upon men and women who would go on to be persecuted, even as they lived out his mission on earth. So understand that you have an adversary and you will be attacked anytime you are trying to live under God's will. I tell you that not so you can walk around just like paranoid and looking for it. I tell you that because it will help you understand when you come up against things, it helps you to understand where it's coming from. Attack won't always look like what you're expecting it to look like. It will come at you where you are most prone to falling into whatever your weakness is. Here's what I mean by that. If you are somebody that gets very angry when you don't get enough sleep, well, the devil can attack you by making sure you don't get enough sleep before you have to do something very important or something that God has called you to do. If you are prone to quitting because you're afraid of something, because you don't want to be bold, the devil will attack you by throwing up those things in your face that make you scared. If you are prone to feeling insecure because you rely on the affirmation of other people, the devil will make sure that you get a healthy dose of criticism to sort of eat away at that ego, because that's your vulnerability. You see, whatever your weakness is, that's where he's going to hit you. And I saw this in Africa, not just with myself, but with all the people around me. We all saw attack, resistance. We all saw and experienced things even internally that would have discouraged us or kept us from doing what we should have been doing while we were there. We persevered. We recognized where it was coming from. We prayed with each other. We prayed through all of these things. But it helps to know, hey, look, I'm getting attacked right now spiritually because I'm trying to do what God's calling me to do. And when we realize that, it can be a great encouragement to keep pressing on. If the devil's trying to attack you, it's because he doesn't want you to do what God is calling you to do. And even if you do continue to do what God's calling you to do, he's going to do everything he can to make you miserable while you do it. So when it comes to having a mission mindset, when it comes to investing yourself in other people, helping other people, serving, sharing the gospel, realize that there will be resistance, and that resistance isn't always going to look like what you expect it to. That resistance is going to hit you where you're the weakest. Okay, I want to take a break, all right, because I understand as we go through this podcast, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long these things end up being is pretty long to talk about one thing. So we're going to break for a news story. This is a weird news story. I would say it's a funny one, but it's really not that funny so much as it is sad. It's just weird. Okay, this is a real story. About a year ago, there was a lady, a Brazilian influencer named Sue Ellen Carey, who married herself in London, England, because she said that she could not find a suitable mate. She could not find someone who made her happy. So she married herself. Believe it or not, that's not the craziest part of this story. This is where it's really interesting. Recently, The same lady who married herself filed for divorce. I really don't even know what to say about that. I'm not even sure why I'm sharing this. I just read it today and thought, man, that is crazy. That is bizarre. But really, I think what it does is it goes to show that even when we prioritize making ourselves happy, and we think that nobody can make me happy like I make me happy, right? We still can't make ourselves happy. So I don't know whether to be happy for her that she ended this ridiculous sham of a marriage, or sad for her because she has yet to discover that God made us to be loved by others and to love others, to give love in turn. God made us for companionship, and I hope she finds that. But that's your ridiculous news story of the day. Before we get back into the talk about the mission mindset, I do want to mention something, just because everybody asks me this, whether it's at church or it's outside of the church. I get emails about it. I get text messages about it. How can I help the hurricane victims? Obviously, we had 2 major hurricanes in the last few weeks, Helene and Milton, both of them devastating. And people have asked me, what can I do? Well, I can give you the opportunities that we're kind of plugging into here at the church, and that's really about as good as I can do for you. Right now, we are collecting items, water, diapers, non-perishable food items, things like that, things that people don't have in the areas where they've just been devastated or there's flooding. We've been raising those items, collecting those items, I should say, and have already taken 1 truckload to another church that we're connected with through the Global Methodist Church, and they are sending that. They've sent relief in different directions to people in Augusta and to people further north than that. So that's one way you can help if you wish to make a physical donation like that. If you want to make a monetary donation, one way that we could really use the help right now is with our ERT team. That's the team that goes and removes trees off of people's houses and just helps people put their lives back together in these areas where they've been, the area's just been destroyed. Our ERT team has gone to Valdosta. They've deployed to Nashville, Georgia twice, and they will probably deploy again for a 4th time fairly soon. And so those trips get to be expensive. The equipment's expensive. Chainsaws, tarps, all that stuff, that them eating while they're there, all of those things, it adds up. So that's one way, if you want to give, that you can. And then, of course, if you are available to work and remove trees, and do some grunt work to help clean up some of these areas that have been devastated by storm, you can be hands and feet, boots on the ground. You can send me an email, jerry@piercechapel.com, and let me know that you're interested in serving with our ERT team. So having said all that, I'm going to go through the remainder of these 7. I think we're on, what are we on, number 4 now? Yeah, let me pick this up. I need to start going a little faster here. Number 4, connect with others for greater impact. You can plug into ministry and make a much bigger impact when you have a support system around you and other people that are helping you do what you're doing, than if you just decided to be a lone wolf and go, minister to somebody all on your own. If you're gonna, if you truly feel like God is calling you to help, in whatever way it is, whether it's ministering to the orphans and widows, meeting the needs of those in poverty, being just a spiritual a source of spiritual guidance and encouragement for someone, someone going through depression, whatever it is that God has laid on your heart that you want to join in the mission, you're going to have a much easier time when you are plugged in with others, connected with others who can help you do that in the best possible way. So we saw this in Africa. We partner with Life in Abundance. Life in Abundance, they sort of vet these tribes and these different people who need help, who want help, but they look at it like, okay, why do you want help? Is this help going to benefit you both physically and spiritually? And if so, then this is what we can do for you. And then they bring in other churches and other partners, and we all join together to help. And that meets the needs a lot more than if I just decided, hey, I'm going to fly over to Kenya today and go help somebody. That I wouldn't even know where to start. So no matter what it is you're doing, connect with others. Be a part of the church. Be a part of what the church is doing. Be a part of the church's mission. That's how you have a mission mindset at all times. All right, number 5, give responsibly. Sometimes people want to be involved with missions just simply by giving. Maybe they don't have the time, the energy, the health to be involved with the actual hands and feet part of the ministry, but they can bless that ministry financially. Well, to that, I would say that's wonderful, but also do that responsibly. Don't just give willy-nilly to everybody who asks for help, because you never know who you're truly helping and who you're hurting when you just do it that way. Sometimes, there's a thing called toxic charity. You give to people who don't want to do anything for themselves, and it can backfire. They become dependent on it, and the need is never really met. It's like that old saying, teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime instead of just giving him a fish and feeding him for a day. Give responsibly with your money, and also with other stuff, with your service. We have an expectation around here. If you ask for help, physical help, like cleaning your yard or restoring something, building a handicap accessible ramp to your house or something like that, if you are physically unable to do that yourself, then we're glad to help. But if you're able to do that, we will come along beside you and help you do that. You see what I'm saying? You have to, when you give, you have to help the person also help themselves. You don't ever want to just do everything for somebody, give everything for somebody, and then they have absolutely no investment in the betterment of the situation. You want to involve them as much as you can. I used to get people calling all the time, well, actually I still do, wanting me to pay their rent, their car bill, their power bill, and we have benevolence funds that's for that. But the problem with that is you never know if those funds are going exactly where they're supposed to, and if it's really going to make a difference in somebody's lives. I'm very grateful for this partnership we have with the Care Portal through Clement Arts here locally. And because these are requests that come in. First of all, they're already vetted, but all the support and all the help goes straight to the people that is where it's supposed to go. So if somebody has a power bill that comes in vetted through the Care Portal, we know the need is there. We know it's real, and the payment goes straight to where it's supposed to go. It's not lining anybody's pocket. So again, give responsibly, even when we make it part of our mission to help others. there's also this element of stewardship that's always involved. Number 6, equip and empower whenever possible. That kind of ties into this. If somebody is chronically, behind on their rent or their power bill, rather than just paying it over and over again, help them find out why. Are there issues with employment that they can work towards resolving? Are there issues with addiction that maybe you or the church or whoever can help them overcome? Empower people. Don't just stick a Band-Aid on it. I love the way Life in Abundance helps empower the tribes around them. They don't just go riding up into the mountains, into the hills, and say, y'all need to know about Jesus. And they also don't ride up in there and just say, hey, here's a bunch of free flour and grain for you to make bread with. No, they help holistically. They tell them about Jesus. They bring them things that they need, resources that they need to survive, but then they also give them ways to support themselves. So the tribe that we went to go see, Kajiado, Life in Abundance supplied them with beads to make jewelry with. So the women of the village, they make all these bracelets and necklaces and just all these different things, belts. I mean, you name it. They make it with those beads and they sell it. And that helps support their village. So again, it's this holistic approach of saying, I'm going to be here to help you financially, but also spiritually, and also in a way to where you feel empowered and can take care of yourself. So if we start there, that's a big part of the mission mindset as well. And then lastly, this is point number 7, and I'll wrap it up. Never, ever, 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 ever lose the passion or the compassion that comes with serving others. Always, always be passionate about what you're doing for others, because that is loving your neighbor as yourself. If it is so important to you to take care of others, then you are fulfilling what Jesus said when he said, love your neighbor as yourself. Take care of your neighbor in the same way you would take care of yourself. And always try to empathize, even when you can't help, even when you know that it's not the right thing to help, and so you don't. Always have compassion for everyone. I mean, that's what's at the heart of all of this, is Christ showed us what it looked like to love and take care of the vulnerable, the needy, and it always involved the heart. And so that's the point of this episode here today. We talk about guarding the heart because everything flows from it. Never lose your passion for doing God's will and your compassion for loving and or the compassion that's involved with loving and serving others. Do this and you'll do well. Thank you again for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have another episode, and I've got some really special guests lined up. So I hope you'll be on the lookout for that. Until then, remember, guard your heart. Everything you do flows from it.